I wasn't snooping. Let me just get that out of the way first. I wasn't digging for secrets or playing detective. I was literally dropping off dry cleaning. I know that sounds like one of those fake setups people use to justify finding something insane, but I swear, I was just trying to be helpful. Emily had asked me to pick up her dry cleaning on the way home from work. No big deal. She gave me the name of the place and the ticket number, and I headed there straight from the office. It was in this sleepy little plaza I'd never noticed before: nail salon, bakery, dry cleaner, and a daycare center tucked on the end. I remember thinking it was oddly quiet for a Thursday afternoon. I went inside, gave the ticket number to the woman at the counter, and waited while she rummaged around. That's when it happened. A little boy ran in from the daycare next door, laughing, covered in marker, holding one of those construction paper crafts. The woman at the counter glanced up, smiled, and said, "Hey, Maddie! Mommy's almost done here!" And I froze. Because Maddie? He looked exactly like Emily. I'm talking carbon copy. Same gray-blue eyes. Same little dimple on the left cheek when he smiled. Same dark auburn curls that Emily constantly complained about straightening. I stared at him, then at the woman behind the counter, then at him again. My brain was short-circuiting. The woman followed my gaze and frowned slightly. "You okay, sir?" I blinked. "Yeah. Sorry. He looks like someone I know." She chuckled. "Everyone says that. He's got one of those faces." But I knew. Deep down I knew. That was Emily's face. On a 4-year-old kid. A kid who just called her Mommy. I paid for the dry cleaning in a daze, walked out without my receipt, and sat in my car for a full 20 minutes just not moving. When I got home, Emily was already there, barefoot and making pasta, like nothing in the world was wrong. She kissed me, thanked me for the dry cleaning, and asked how my day was. And I looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time in 5 years, I realized I might not know her at all. I didn't ask her anything that night. I didn't say a word. Because I needed to be absolutely sure before I accused the woman I was supposed to marry of living a double life. The next morning, I called in sick and drove back to the plaza. What I found changed everything. The daycare center had a cheerful yellow awning and cartoon animals painted on the windows, which felt wildly inappropriate for the kind of existential crisis I was having. I waited until drop-off time, parked across the lot, and watched. At 8:43 a.m., a black Subaru pulled up. And Emily got out. Except, it wasn't quite Emily. Same hair. Same height. Even the same damn walk. But this woman had a slightly rounder face, wore glasses, and her hair was shorter. She held Maddie's hand like a natural, kissed his forehead, and walked him through the daycare doors like she'd done it 100 times. I swear I nearly passed out from the relief. My brain scrambled for explanations. Maybe a cousin? A sister? Emily did have a cousin named Megan who lived in the area, but I'd only met her once, years ago. I snapped a photo of the woman discreetly. Yes, I know, creepy, but I needed evidence, and texted it to Emily with a casual, "Hey, is this your cousin Megan?" 3 dots appeared. Then vanished. Then reappeared. Then came the reply. "That's my twin sister." I stared at the screen. Twin? In 5 years of dating, 1 year of living together, and 6 months of engagement, she had never once mentioned having a twin. I called her immediately. "Jake," she answered, voice tight. "I didn't want you to find out this way." "Find out what?" I said. "That you have a secret sister who looks exactly like you? Or that she has a kid who looks exactly like you?" There was a long silence. Then she sighed. "Come home. I'll explain everything." I drove like a maniac. When I walked into the apartment, she was already sitting on the couch, holding a mug of tea like she was bracing for a courtroom confession. "Her name is Claire," she said quietly. "We're identical twins, but we haven't spoken in almost 7 years." That raised about 10,000 new questions, but I kept my mouth shut and let her talk. She and we had a falling out. It's complicated. But yeah, that little boy you saw is my nephew Maddie. Why didn't you ever tell me? Because I thought I'd never see her again. And honestly, I didn't want you to meet her. I didn't want anyone in my life to meet her. My mind reeled. What happened between you two? Emily looked up, eyes rimmed red. She tried to steal someone from me. I blinked. Like, a boyfriend? No, she said. My entire life. She tried to steal my entire life. Emily repeated, like she'd rehearsed the line in her head 100 times but never out loud. I sank into the armchair across from her, waiting for the inevitable unraveling of reality. Because that sentence? That wasn't something you'd just say and move on from. That was a gateway drug into the craziest story I'd ever heard. Okay, I said slowly. You're gonna have to start at the beginning. Emily nodded, hands clenched around her mug like it was a flotation device. We grew up in Boston. Super tight-knit family. Claire and I were inseparable until about high school, when things got weird. She started copying me. Not in a cute twin way, like, obsessively. Same clothes, same handwriting, same interests. She even tried to join the same college clubs as me. Isn't that kind of normal? Twin stuff? Sure. Except it didn't stop there. She started introducing herself as me, to guys, to professors, even on social media. I found a whole Instagram account she'd made using my name and pictures. When I confronted her, she claimed it was a joke. Said I was overreacting. Yikes. I brushed it off. Until senior year. I had this boyfriend, Daniel. He was sweet, nerdy, wanted to be a pediatrician. We were talking about moving in together after graduation. Then one night, he just ghosted. Poof. Gone. Wouldn't return calls, emails, nothing. Wait. Are you saying? 2 weeks later, Claire posts a picture on her Instagram. Her and Daniel. On a beach. Engaged. And guess what name he thought she was? Emily. My stomach turned. No freaking way. She pretended to be me. Said she changed her mind, wanted to elope. Told him I'd cut ties with my family for a fresh start. I don't even know how she pulled it off. But wouldn't he know she wasn't you? Emily gave me a bitter smile. She spent months studying me. My voice, my mannerisms. And Daniel was gullible. Or in denial. I don't know. What happened? They got married. She moved with him to Oregon. I cut her off. My parents tried to mediate, but I told them if they took her side, I was out. So they stayed neutral. And that was it. We haven't spoken since. My brain was spinning so fast it could have powered the apartment. Maddie? I asked. He's Daniel's kid. Claire's. Born about 5 years ago. I didn't know until my mom sent a Christmas card with a picture. So, she stole your boyfriend, married him as you, had his child, and disappeared? Emily nodded. Until now, apparently. Which means she's back. And if she's back. Her eyes locked on mine. She's not here for a friendly reunion. I sat back, stunned. I thought I was marrying someone with a complicated family. Turns out, I was marrying the survivor of a Lifetime movie. I didn't sleep that night. Not because Emily and I were fighting, we weren't. Not because I doubted her story, I didn't. But because every time I closed my eyes, I saw that little boy's face. Maddie. The kid who looked exactly like my fiancée. The kid I almost believed was hers. And now I knew why. Because he was basically genetically identical to her. And somewhere out there, walking around the city, was Claire, the woman who'd impersonated Emily, stolen her boyfriend, married him under false pretenses, and ghosted for nearly a decade like a Bond villain with a Pinterest board. The next morning, Emily was already up, sitting at the kitchen island, flipping through a stack of old letters I didn't recognize. What are those? I asked, pouring coffee like it could save me. Letters from my mom. She used to sneak them to me after I cut Claire off. Updates, photos, holiday cards. I never responded, but I didn't throw them away either. She held up a card shaped like a snowflake, a toddler's scrawl in crayon on the inside. This one's from Maddie. He made it when he was 3. My mom mailed it to me with a note that said he has your eyes. I sat beside her, heart heavy. So, what now? That's the question, isn't it? We stared at each other for a long moment. Then the doorbell rang. Not a knock. Not a buzz. A ding-dong like we were in a sitcom and the neighbor was about to walk in holding banana bread. Emily's face went pale. That's her. I know it. I opened the door. And there she was. Claire. And holy hell, it was uncanny. She was Emily's exact replica, down to the smile lines, the posture, the freckles. But there was a coldness in her eyes. Like someone who's read all the right lines but doesn't believe the play. "Hi," she said brightly. "Jake, right? I'm Claire." Emily appeared behind me. Her voice was sharp. "What do you want?" Claire's smile didn't even flicker. "Can I come in?" "No," Emily snapped. "Say whatever you came to say right here." Claire looked me dead in the eye. "I think your fiancé still has something of mine." Emily laughed. "It wasn't pretty." "What? Your dignity?" "No," Claire said sweetly. "My husband." My stomach dropped so hard I nearly blacked out. "Excuse me?" I said, looking between them. Claire tilted her head. "You didn't tell him?" Emily's jaw clenched. "Get off my porch." Claire leaned in slightly, voice a whisper now. "He was mine first, Em. And he remembers." Then she turned and walked away like she hadn't just firebombed our entire life. I turned to Emily, 100 questions tumbling out of my mouth at once, but she held up a shaking hand. "She's lying," she said. "I swear to God, Jake. Whatever she's planning, it's not what it looks like." I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. But the seed of doubt had been planted. And Claire? Claire had just watered it. The days that followed were a psychological hostage situation. Emily insisted Claire was playing some long con, that she was delusional, obsessed, and dangerous. Claire, meanwhile, sent me a LinkedIn message. A LinkedIn message. Like we were two professionals networking over mutual trauma. "Hi, Jake. Figured this might be a safer way to contact you. If you ever want the real story, I'm happy to talk. No pressure. Hope you're well." She ended it with a smiley face emoji. I didn't reply. Obviously. But I did start to feel like I was losing my grip on reality. Suddenly I was double-checking everything Emily said. Not because I didn't trust her, but because the situation felt like a high-stakes escape room where every clue could be a trap. The twist came 2 days later, in the form of Daniel. Yeah. Daniel. The ghosted ex-boyfriend turned accidental bigamist. He showed up at my office. I was just getting back from lunch when the receptionist waved me down. "Hey, Jake? There's a guy here asking for you. Says it's urgent. Won't leave his last name." My stomach dropped before I even saw him. But when I did, holy hell. Daniel looked like the human embodiment of regret. Slumped shoulders, bags under his eyes, hair that hadn't seen conditioner since Obama's second term. He stood when he saw me, hands shaking slightly. "Jake?" he asked. "Depends," I said. "Are you here to confess or kidnap me?" He gave a weak laugh. "Can we talk? Somewhere private?" We went to an empty conference room. He didn't sit. "I know this is weird," he started, "but I had to find you. I'm not proud of what happened with Emily, Claire, I mean. God, I can't even keep it straight anymore." I crossed my arms. "Start talking." He took a deep breath. "I married Claire thinking she was Emily. She played the part perfectly. Same voice. Same jokes. Even the same stories. It wasn't until after we got married that the cracks started to show." "What kind of cracks?" "She couldn't keep her lies straight. Forgot people's names. Started slipping into her own memories. And then, she told me the truth. That she wasn't Emily. That she'd won. Like it was a game." He was shaking now. "I stayed for Maddie. But I left 6 months ago. And now she's spiraling. I think she came back because she's fixated on Emily again. On replacing her." I blinked. "Replacing her how?" Daniel looked at me with the most haunted expression I've ever seen. "She doesn't want your life. She wants to be your life." A chill went down my spine. "You mean she wants?" "You," he said. "She wants you, Jake." "She wants me?" I repeated, trying not to choke on my own saliva. "Like romantically?" Daniel nodded, rubbing his temples like this conversation had aged him 5 years. "She's been watching you and Emily. For months, probably longer. I didn't believe it at first, but she keeps photos. Notes. Schedules. I found a bullet journal with your name written over and over again like a damn middle school crush." I stared at him. "She made a Jake scrapbook?" "She made a life plan. With you in it. She thinks she can just swap places again. That if she takes everything Emily has, it'll finally make her whole. I sat down because my legs were officially boycotting this entire reality. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Daniel looked exhausted. Because I should have spoken up years ago. Because I didn't protect Emily when I should have. And because Claire's dangerous in a way that doesn't look dangerous. She's charming. Smart. Convincing. But she doesn't have boundaries. Or empathy. And when she fixates on something, she takes it. There was a long silence. Then I asked the question that had been bouncing around my brain like a cursed ping-pong ball. Does she actually think she is Emily? Daniel gave a sad little shrug. I don't think she knows the difference anymore. That night, I told Emily everything. She listened without blinking, without interrupting. When I finished, she closed her eyes and exhaled slowly like someone releasing a breath she'd held for years. She's escalating, she said. I knew she would eventually. I just didn't think it would happen now. You were right to cut her off, I said. She'll try something, Emily replied matter-of-fact. Something big. She doesn't just want to mess with me. She wants to erase me. I swallowed hard. Then we fight back. We didn't go to the police, yet. There were no threats, no actual crimes. Claire was walking the line perfectly, as always. But we did start documenting. Photos. Messages. Timeline of appearances. I even ordered security cameras for the apartment, and changed all our passwords. Garrett, Emily's lawyer friend, helped us draft a cease and desist letter that we hand-delivered to Claire's work. That's when we found out where she worked. At a bridal boutique. I wish I were kidding. Emily and I stood outside the boutique that Friday, watching through the glass as Claire adjusted a mannequin's veil, chatting with the client like she didn't have a stalker starter pack with my name on it tucked under her pillow. She works in weddings? I muttered. Emily didn't laugh. She doesn't just want my life. She wants to wear it. As we turned to leave, Claire looked up and saw us. And smiled. Like she was looking at her future. 2 days later, I got a wedding invitation in the mail. Our mailbox. Addressed to me. And the bride's name? Emily Patton. I sat on the couch, heart pounding in my throat, turning the thick, cream-colored cardstock over in my hands like maybe, this was some kind of sick prank. It wasn't. The venue was real. The RSVP number worked. The groom's name was blank. Emily walked in just as I was rereading the return address for the 4th time. Her face drained of color when she saw what I was holding. She didn't, she whispered. She did. Claire had officially snapped. But she wasn't hiding it anymore. She wasn't stealing lives in the dark, or manipulating quietly. No, she was hosting an entire wedding, using Emily's full name, and inviting me to it. That wasn't just twisted. That was declaration of war twisted. We called Garrett immediately. She's setting something up, he said, voice grim. You don't send out wedding invites unless you're planning a show. Public humiliation? Identity theft? Emotional ambush? Emily just shook her head. She's trying to prove she can. That she can copy me, replace me, rewrite the narrative. And if I don't respond? It'll look like I'm the bitter twin who couldn't handle it. I'd never seen her look so tired. Or so angry. That's when I had an idea. If she wants to play dress up and pretend she's you, I said, what if we show up and ruin the illusion? Emily blinked. You want to crash her fake wedding? No. I want to expose her at it. Garrett smiled slowly, like a man watching a morally questionable plan blossom into beautiful chaos. It's risky. But if we document it properly, and she says anything incriminating, we'll have everything we need for a restraining order. Maybe even legal action. Emily's eyes narrowed. You really think she'll break character in front of a crowd? She won't be able to help herself, I said. She's not doing this for privacy. She's doing it for attention. And we're going to give her exactly what she wants, until it's too late for her to pull back. So we made a plan. Emily would confront her at the altar. Not yelling. Not dramatic. Just factual. Calm. Controlled. I'd be there standing beside her. Garrett would be recording. And if Claire tried to deny it? We had 5 years of receipts. The venue was a converted farmhouse, picturesque, tasteful, Instagram perfect. Claire had spared no expense. Flowers, candles, a full string quartet. And standing at the end of the aisle, in a replica of Emily's dream wedding dress? Claire. in front of 60 guests. Holding my name card at the empty groom's place. I looked over at Emily. You ready? I asked. She smiled, eyes blazing. Let's burn this thing down. We entered through the back of the venue, escorted by one of Garrett's private security contacts, because apparently that was our life now: secret entrances, legal strategy, and showdown prep like we were about to confront a Marvel villain in chiffon. Inside, the converted farmhouse buzzed with polite, suspicious energy. The ceremony hadn't started yet. Guests were milling around, sipping champagne, fanning themselves with folded programs that read, "The Wedding of Emily Patton." I had to stop Emily, my Emily, as she caught sight of one of those programs and nearly ripped it in half. Easy, I whispered. She wants a scene. We give her a show, but it's our script. Garrett was already in position, seated in the second row on the aisle, phone camera prepped. He gave us a nod. We were on. A soft piano melody drifted through the air. The guests started sitting. Someone announced the start of the ceremony. And then, Claire walked down the aisle like she owned the damn planet. I mean, she looked good. Objectively speaking. The dress fit like it was sewn into her DNA. Her makeup was flawless. Her expression? Beatific. Serene. Like she actually believed she was a bride walking toward her future. Except there was no groom waiting at the end. Just an empty space. Right next to a card with my name on it. She stood there for a beat, hands clasped over a bouquet of white roses, smiling at her audience. And that's when we made our move. Emily stepped into the aisle. Every head turned. Half the guests gasped. One woman actually clutched her pearls, which I thought only happened in cartoons, but nope, she did it. Claire's smile flickered. But she held it. Sister, she said into the microphone someone had handed her. How unexpected. Emily's heels clicked sharply on the floor as she walked toward herself. You didn't think I'd miss your big day, did you? Emily said, her voice calm but sharp as glass. Claire tilted her head, still performing. I wasn't sure if you'd be well enough to attend. After all, the stress of wedding planning can be so much for some people. That was it. That was the tell. Claire was trying to paint Emily as unstable again, just like she had at the country club, in those whispered rumors and LinkedIn DMs. Emily didn't take the bait. Instead, she pulled out a small envelope and held it up. This is a cease and desist order, Claire. Legally served. Witnessed. And enforceable the moment this farce continues. Claire's smile faltered. Jake, she said, shifting her focus to me. You don't have to go along with this. I know things have been confusing. I'm here now. I'm ready. I stepped beside Emily and took her hand. I am too, I said, ready to finally end this. Claire's expression cracked, just slightly. You don't have to do this, she said to me, quieter now, no mic, just her voice. We could start over. You don't really know her. You've only seen what she shows you. That's when Emily stepped forward, close enough that their dresses nearly touched. You're not well, Claire, she said. And I say that not with anger, but with pity. You've spent your life trying to be me, when you could have spent it being yourself. You stole my boyfriend, my name, my stories, and now you're trying to steal my fiancé. But you can't copy what you don't understand. Claire's hands clenched around her bouquet. I didn't steal Daniel, she hissed. He chose me. No, Emily said, her voice steady. He thought you were me. That's not the same thing. That's fraud. And we have everything recorded. Claire blinked and looked toward Garrett, who gave her a little wave from the front row. Someone else stood up behind him. Daniel. Claire's breath caught in her throat. Claire, Daniel said loud enough for the room to hear. It's over. That was the break. Her posture stiffened, her face lost all performance polish, and for the first time since she entered that room, she looked small. I just wanted, she said, barely audible, what she had. And you never will, Emily said. Because what I have, it's mine. I built it. I earned it. And you can't fake earned. Claire dropped the bouquet. The flowers hit the wooden floor with a soft, pathetic thud. 2 security guards flanked her gently. Garrett nodded to them, and they stepped forward. Claire looked around at the room, at her guests, her stage, her illusion, melting in front of her. And then she did something I didn't expect. She laughed. Of course. she said. Of course it ends this way. You always were the better actress. And then she walked out, escorted but not fighting, like a ghost leaving the house she'd been haunting for years. The guests didn't know what to do. No one clapped. No one spoke. They just watched the sisters, one dressed for war, one dressed for peace, stand in the center of an abandoned ceremony like twin queens of a kingdom that never existed. Emily turned to the crowd, cleared her throat, and said, "Cake's still good, though. Right?" A few people laughed, nervous and awkward but real. It broke the tension. Garrett gathered the legal files. Daniel left quietly after shaking my hand and whispering, "She'll come back eventually. But now you're ready." And Emily? She looked at me like a woman who had survived something ancient. "I'm sorry," she said quietly, back in the car, "for dragging you into this." I looked at her. Really looked at her. Not just at the face that Claire had tried so hard to copy, but the woman behind it, the one who'd fought tooth and nail for her identity, for her truth, for us. "I'd go through it again," I said, meaning every word. "For you? Every time. We got married 3 months later. No drama. No decoys. Just real people, real vows, and one hell of a locked guest list. As for Claire? Last we heard, she moved west again. Changed her name. Probably found a new role to audition for. But it doesn't matter anymore. Because the thing about stolen identities? You can only fake someone's life for so long, until the real thing shows up and takes it back. And Emily? She never needed to be duplicated. She just needed to be believed.